The St. Paul's Catholic Church, close to the community where I live, was almost at capacity. I do not know if it had something to do with the fact that it is the first Sunday of June. I too had not attended church in the past 2 weeks. However, one of my resolutions this year was to always attend Sunday masses at least once every month, where I have never missed 3 times in a row, and the trick is to aim for the first and last Sunday of the month. That had been working fine for me. It was offering time, and as practiced in all the Catholic churches I've attended, procession for the offertory begins from the back pews and moves up one pew at a time. It is an orderly structure that ensures seamless movement of worshippers to the offering boxes and back to their pews. It eliminated the perpetual jamming of other people's legs if you are not seated at either ends of the pews, and countless, excuse me please, that was tiresome. However, the flip side to this is that there is now some sort of expectation that everyone must move out. This makes anyone that did not go for offering very noticeable because by still maintaining their sitting position, he or she would be disrupting the pattern. So, while this structure is achieving orderliness, it is also pushing more people to go for offering. With this knowledge, most persons now prepare for offering both in terms of cash and dressing. I was dressed for both, with my seat being the second to last pew on the extreme left column in the church. I'll be among the first persons that will march to the offertory box, and that was not a big deal. So, when the church warden knocked on our seat, everyone stood up and followed behind the last person from the last pew. It would be until when I got to the offertory box that I would notice an unusual activity, being that all pews on the same row simultaneously move out for offering, and most times have common offertory box where they converge. I had just dropped my offering and continued on the line back to my seat when I noticed an unusual stare from a girl on an adjacent row. She had stared at me for what seemed like a full minute before I caught her eyes. Then she withdrew her face. As I continued back, for a moment I kept my gaze on her while my brain scanned through my head for a match. It was until I drew closer to my seat and to hers as well that I noticed the black dots at the side of her nose. Then a clearer image began to form in my head. I withdrew my gaze just as I entered my seat, and also to focus on the clue that the black dot just gave my memory. I knew I've met her before, somewhere, at night. I resumed my seat and spent the next 2 minutes trying to remember the name, and another 10 minutes to decide whether to approach her after the church or simply let the past be in the past. After several back and forth in my head, I settled with the first option. Then, as expected consequence of my decision now, anxiety from nowhere started growing in me. However, I assured myself that since she had been picking at me earlier, then somehow she'd be expecting that I'd make a move, having noticed her. I started stealing side glances at her, and I could swear I caught her eyes twice. I couldn't wait for the match to be over. 1 hour later, the priest gave the final blessing, and we all started filing out of the church. Within minutes, I walked up to her where she stood just by the entrance. Hello, excuse me. I tried not to mention her name to avoid coming off awkward. Hi. She turned her face to me with somewhat of a faint surprise that a guy walked up to her. I knew the drill. Act surprised like you weren't expecting him to approach you. Sorry, I noticed you during the mass and I think we've met before. Okay, have we? She aligned her body to face me fully now. She was holding her pink purse with her two arms, just below her waist level. Her heels were shorter, emphasizing her little need for enhanced height. I noticed her curvy hips once again and the slightly K-shaped legs. I think so, and I also think I know your name. It was just about the right time to play that card. Rita, right? Yeah, that's my name. Her face brightened now. There is a reason why guys make a great effort to get the name of a girl they are interested in. Addressing people by their names has a way of pulling in their attention more. It shows the deliberate effort on your part to get to know them better. The moment I mentioned her name, I could sense this new eagerness in her to listen to me. Yeah, I knew your name long time ago. Really? How? How did you know me? Even though I sensed how rhetorical the question is, coming from someone that watched me throw a guy inside her mother's pot of oil, I spent the next 2 minutes summarizing that eventful night for her. Oh, I remember now. So, you were that guy? Well, I was that guy. I didn't want to present myself as a guy that fights. And she sensed the hesitation in my voice and almost giggled. Why are you saying it like that? Perception, I guess. Then I stared emptily into the roof of the corridor. I see. Okay. It wasn't a great night for me, I must say. Then I quickly changed the subject. So you worship here? Not often. St. Peter's is like an alternative church for me. She looked inside the church and then at the gate almost immediately. I read the meaning and gestured for us to walk. If you don't mind, we can walk together. Okay. Everyone is almost out of the church. Then she led the way. So, what do you mean that it's an alternative church? I slowed my pace to match hers. It means I don't usually attend Mass here. Only on rare occasions when I'm not able to wake early or join my mom. Okay. You see, my mom and I attend St. Benedict's, closer to my side. The first Mass begins by 6 a.m. So if I'm unable to meet up because of the time I wake up, or maybe I just want to add another hour to my sleep time in the morning, I prepare my mind to attend St. Peter's. Here, I think the first Mass is 7:30 a.m. I see. So I presume you wanted to add another hour to your sleep time this morning. We crossed the gate of the church and was coming along the tarred road. I had observed that she was now more relaxed and was flowing with the conversation. Her giggles were even more reassuring. Not really. I guess I didn't want to go with my mom today. She took a momentary glance on my face and smiled upon a move I had no clue what it means. This one you are smiling. I quizzed her and took a little jab at her. Why do I feel like you're lying? Now she let out a full laughter. No, I'm not. Okay, it's just that I had a very stressful evening yesterday and I feel it would be nice if I rested more. But basically, I do want to go with mom today. The trick sometimes is to get the girl to talk about herself. Quiz her a little and let her win in defending herself. Then hope she asks you something about you. It's not usually easy to have a smooth first time conversation with a girl you are interested in. There are cases of the discussion being one sided or getting monotonous reply to everything you ask. You know those mostly single word answers to virtually anything you ask. Like, yes, maybe, fine, I'm good. You? Sometimes it says something about the girl's level of communication, other time it's a sign of rejection. Well, in Rita's case, I was getting all the positive signs and her communication skill is top notch. Do you attend mass here often? She asked that with a rather low voice and an effort to keep our discussion going. I felt good with her inquiry. I almost nodded my head to the acknowledgement that I'm getting somewhere. I don't attend mass all the Sundays, but anytime the Spirit leads me to go to church, it's always here. We conversed about the church service together and debated between St. Peter's and St. Benedict's which is better than the other. There wasn't any serious point to the subject of our argument, but it kept both of us talking to each other. And, if anything, continuous talking in this early and first time is very important in paving the way to further possibilities, especially for me. Speaking of me, the last thing I expected today or any other day was that I'd be running into the black damsel of my fight night. But seeing her in the church today and actually noticing her noticing me was invigorating. Call it luck or some kind of predestined occurrence. I'm just glad it happened. All the attraction I felt for her that evening was coming back, and this time around in a calmer way. I wasn't anxious as I was that evening and surely didn't scan my head for the right first shot to shoot. I took a moment to allow myself absorb her physiology again. Every feature of her I saw that night were exactly and more in the daytime. The black dot was just perfect and accentuated that small pointed nose of hers. I thought about telling her that she's a fine girl, but thought against it. There is a chance that such compliments too early will send out wrong energy and blow my chances. Instead, I complimented her dress. The pink bodycon gown she wore showed her cleavages in a rather royal fashion. The simplistic nature of the design and yet the ability to accentuate her beauty tells a lot about her choice of clothing. Then, her silver necklace, silver earrings, and silver shoes, a matching color for a perfect choice of Sunday wear, complemented by her pink purse. The cloth is very fine. Thank you. We had covered about additional 30 meters past the church building before she signaled my attention, slowing her pace almost to a stop. I have to go now. I'll be using bike. I understood. We had walked enough distance already, and I needed no interpreter to explain that she had walked this distance because of me. It's alright, my place is not that far. Also, I needed no interpreter to tell me that this is the part where I I ensure further communication.
Alright, that means you just walk home then.
Yep. Then I took the step. You know I enjoyed your company. I'd like to stay in touch with you. Would you mind sharing your contact with me? She hesitated for a moment and for a reason I knew nothing about. Then we both came to a stop and, like a kid, she spun her body 60 degrees left and right 3 times.
Let me have your phone.
She demanded. Then she keyed the 11 digits and handed it back to me. I saved the contact with Chocolate Rita and dialed away. It rang twice and she acknowledged.
I'm sorry, I never got your name.
Theophilus, but you can call me Tess. She looked me in the eyes for the second time.
Nice. Chat me up, Tess.
Then I watched her cross the road. Moments later, she had flagged down a bike and was speeding away. I resumed my walk back home with so much satisfaction and plans for her. Perhaps I'll find out the fight was worth it after all. It's looking like it already.